Hello everyone, and welcome to Pivot Boss Masters. This is core training, and specifically the theory portion of core training. And in today's session, we're going to be talking about becoming an elite trader. And it's no secret that trading can be extremely difficult, and in fact, trading can be frustratingly difficult for those estimated 90+% of traders who strive to reach that seemingly untouchable goal of consistent profitability. In order to achieve the success that these 10% of professional traders achieve, you basically have to study the habits of these pro traders. And what I've basically come to understand here, and this is something that I've talked about for many, many years, is that a lot of times you have to emulate the pros in order to become a pro. One thing that I did notice is that elite athletes share a lot of common traits with elite traders. And that's how we're going to begin this Becoming an Elite Trader course here. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the theory portion here. Train like an elite athlete. Professional traders share certain traits with elite athletes. Traits that happen to form the foundation for what it takes to be a successful trader, including discipline, practice, and preparation. And this is by no means an exhaustive list, but this is some of the common traits. These are some of the common traits that a lot of athletes share. And these are things that we all have done in order to get better at various things in our lives. But it all starts with practice. Number one, athletes devote countless hours to practice. From practice on the field to practice in the film room, elite athletes devote an extraordinary amount of their time to practice and preparation. And that's what separates elite athletes from the average person, right? It's the Peyton Mannings and Tom Brady's from any of the other lesser quarterbacks, and there is a number to choose from. It's countless hours of practice and preparation. It's constantly looking at your film, looking at how you threw your last ball, those types of things. Practice on the field, practice in the weight room, practicing your craft at every moment. And even after reaching super success, after winning Super Bowls or MVPs, these elite performers continue to seek improvement. Michael Jordan continued to seek improvement. Tom Brady continues to seek improvement despite winning, 5 Super Bowls now, right? So practice is crucial, but as we'll talk about later on in the session, it's not just any practice. It's what we call deliberate practice. It's specific practice, and we'll be talking about that as well. Number two, athletes thrive in structured environments. A structured environment allows elite athletes to get the most out of their gifts and talents and forces otherwise undisciplined personalities to conform in order to do the same. And this is what's very, very important. Bill Belichick is huge at this. As soon as someone comes into his room, a player comes into that coaching room, they are immediately thrust into a highly structured environment that dictates everything they do throughout the rest of the day. And I've heard many, many times that coaches don't really want athletes to think about anything they do during the day. Just be here and do what I say. Be here, do this. Be here, do that. And so that's why they're up at the crack of dawn and in the weight room by 6 a.m. Then they're on the practice field. Then they're in the coaching room. Then they're in the film room. And then, the thing goes on until, 9 p.m. comes around. They're barely getting the time to rest. I'm not saying you have to take that approach, but what I am saying is it's this structured environment that forces you to continue to improve and do those things that you're supposed to do. Athletes are extraordinarily disciplined as well. And again, that comes from the structured environment. If you're not disciplined already, a structured environment will help create that discipline because discipline is practiced. Elite athletes practice discipline in every aspect of their life, including their exercise schedule, film study sessions, coaching calls, and even their daily diet, which paves the way to successful outcomes. This is extremely important because as a trader, you must be extremely disciplined in order to be successful. You have to possess or develop that inner fortitude to do the things that lead to profitable trading. You can't rely on anyone else to push you. You can't rely on anyone else to stick to your rules. You have to do it, right? It's your discipline that's setting you up for success. Are you disciplined in waiting for that right entry? Are you disciplined in holding on to your stops? Are you disciplined in getting that T1 and transacting at that level? Those types of things pave the way to success. If you're not disciplined as a trader, things can go very badly very, very quickly. And this is one of the stories I love, is that Michael Jordan story, where he started the Breakfast Club back when he was with the Bulls in the 1990s. In order to practice with his teammates, he started what's called the Breakfast Club, so he can practice with his teammates before practice with the coaches. So they'd wake up super, super early. They'd eat, then they'd train, and then they'd go to practice with Phil, right? Incredible, right? But not coincidentally, Jordan and the Bulls began this club the year before they went on to win the first of their 6 NBA titles. So it's that type of discipline to say, you know what, I am going to train myself right now, and then I'm going to do more work. Those types of things lead to major, major outcomes. And again, those elite performers are the ones that put in the work. And trading is no different. Athletes persevere at all costs. Athletes are trained to win and to persevere at all costs, right? From developing a winning attitude to overcoming challenges and setbacks, that's supposed to say. Elite athletes are programmed to win no matter what. But how? It's through preparation, and we'll talk about that as well. Preparation breeds confidence. When you have confidence, you can remain poised, and you can do whatever it takes to win. But preparation is huge. So athletes persevere at all costs. They'll put it all on the line. If the shot isn't falling and the game is slipping away, athletes are trained to adjust and overcome. And for any of you who are soldiers or Marines, etc., it's the same thing. You could take these elite athletes and you can substitute in SEAL Team 6, and it's the same thing. They go about their business the same way. And trading is no different, because you will lose money trading. You will lose money trading. You might even blow out an account or two before you become consistent with your trading, before you finally figure out, you know what, I can't do those things that led me to blow out these accounts. I have to do something different, right? So that shows you have to be able to pick yourself up off the floor, adjust, and overcome and seek victory, right? And all successor traders have overcome and persevered. And they have the stories and battle scars to prove it, right? We've all talked about it. I've talked about it before. This hasn't been easy. It's up and down, but over time you learn how to avoid the things that cost you in this game. Athletes are even-keeled during adversity. Athletes are trained to keep their cool during adversity. Being level-headed when things aren't going your way is the only reliable path to giving yourself a chance to prevail. And again, this is extremely important. And in the market, when you have money on the line and when things are happening, you've got to keep your cool. And that's something that I pride myself on, and it's something that I've worked on for a long time, is being cool under pressure. And that comes from preparation as well, right? Because you are prepared for the things that come your way. You're able to handle the adversity with a clear and level-headed mind. And that's very, very important. All right, number 6, athletes excel in pressure situations. Athletes are trained to perform in situations with the utmost pressure. Practice and repetition helps athletes handle these pressure cooker situations. Preparation breeds the confidence to remain poised and win. That right there, staying cool under pressure, even under adversity, when the stakes are high, right? Being able to handle those situations. And again, it's all about preparation, right? Why do you think the football coaches devote so much time to the 2-minute drill? Not just for their offense, but also for their defense, right? The last 2 minutes of the half, the last 2 minutes of the game, super, super important to close out or go for the victory. And they practice those scenarios. They practice the situations that they're going to encounter in a game situation. And if you prepare for those situations over and over and over and over and over again, when the time comes under live fire, you will have the confidence to remain poised and do the thing that is right in that situation based off your preparation. Preparation breeds confidence. It's extremely important. Imagine the pressure of playing in a World Cup final or a Super Bowl, a World Series game, an NBA Finals game. Millions of people, sometimes 1 billion people may be watching your every move. Some players choke, but champions prevail. right? And trading can be one of the most pressure-packed professions. I mean, for floor traders to win and lose sums of money that were the size of mortgages back in the 80s, 90s, I mean, that's incredible on a daily basis. That's incredible. That may not be the case much anymore, but that's still just such a pressure-packed situation. And again, being prepared in these situations helps you deal with them when it comes time to handle them live in the market. And of course, lastly, athletes are coached and coachable. Great coaching helps athletes become elite. Perhaps more importantly, athletes with a willingness to be coachable, even after immense success, are those that continue to improve and set new standards. Just like Tom Brady, for example. After winning, 5 Super Bowls, Tom Brady continues to work with the same quarterbacks coach he's had since his days as, Pop Warner. In addition, Brady also takes direction from a number of coaches, from his head coach, his position coach, offensive coordinator, strength coach, perhaps even his wife, right? I mean, you take it all in, you self-assess, and you try to improve. That's the goal, to improve. And being coachable is extremely important. And again, this is by no means an exhaustive list, but these are some of the many traits that many of these elite athletes have. And these are the same traits that we must have as traders to navigate what can oftentimes be very difficult markets. But if you plan, prepare the right way, you can engage these situations and be quite successful, as we know. So here it is, theory. Becoming an elite trader requires focus, discipline, and understanding the science of practice. And we'll be talking about the science of practice, which is basically deliberate practice. It's deliberate practice, self-assessment, and proper coaching. These are the keys to becoming elite. The right type of practice, right? Being able to self-assess and identify weaknesses and improve upon those weaknesses so they become strengths, right? These types of things are what make great traders, great athletes. Those types of things lead to success in any field. And I have here in big and bold, talent doesn't matter. Deliberate practice does. Now, this isn't the case for everything. If you want to be great in the NBA, then you might need to be tall. If you want to be a great gymnast, you might need to be small, right? But other than those things, I mean, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Practice, deliberate practice, that's what makes for elite performance. But it's not how much you practice. It's not how much you practice, but how you practice. As traders, we want to engage in that deliberate practice. And again, deliberate practice involves the pursuit of personal improvement via coaching, self-assessment, specific goals, and constantly practicing outside of one's comfort zone. Less is more if practice is intentionally designed. And this goes for anybody. This is what I do, with our daughters. I've pushed my oldest daughter to do better in math or reading or coding, right? But at some point, fatigue starts to set in if you're just doing the same old boring thing. You have to have a more intentionally designed practice so that you are focusing on improving those areas of weakness and continuing to seek improvement, right? It's not just about, hey, go do math for an hour, right? It's, what are you struggling with? Let's focus on that for 15 minutes and knock it out, right? It's those types of things. So here, coaching. Coaching, self-assessment, specific goals, and practicing outside of your comfort zone. These are the 4 major things that are a part of deliberate practice. So coaching, of course, requires a coach or mentor with a demonstrated ability to help others improve. Hopefully, for you all, that's Pivot Boss, right? I do my best to help keep you all on the right side of the market, especially in the trading room. Do my best to provide key levels that are actionable, buy and sells. I show you how to manage your risk. I show you how to scale out a trade so that you can manage your risk and get to break even. These types of things. You have to be able to have someone that can direct you and show you the way, especially in trading, because trading can be so difficult to master if you run out of funds before you get good. And that's what happens to a lot of traders. You give up before you finally get there. And instead, having that right coaching to put you on the right track speeds up that learning curve just incredibly. Self-assessment, this requires the ability to objectively identify areas of weakness, right? You have to be able to say, you know what, I want to get better at entries. I want to get better at forecasting. I want to get better at trade management, whatever the case may be. And I talk about this openly. I'm not a perfect trader. I try to improve all aspects of my game. And at times I'll go year by year. Like this year, I mentioned it to many of you, I'm focusing more on options. Last year, I focused more on swing trading. The years before that, I was focused on scalping. Before that, I did a lot of automation and those types of things. And I just continue to improve just certain areas. I created the ADR method because I wanted to identify better ways to pinpoint and forecast targets, right? So if I wanted to do better targets, then let me study, research, and find the best way that I can do that. And that's how the ADR method was born, right? These types of things, being able to self-assess and say, you know what, I'm going to look in the mirror and see the things that I do well, that I don't do well. And I'm going to improve upon the things that I do not do well, right? Well-defined specific goals help traders address weaknesses and allow traders to track progress toward improvement, right? This can be in so many number of ways, but again, you could set a specific goal of lowering your MAE, maximum adverse excursion. That's my goal with everything. Try to limit the amount that price goes against you after the entry. When you get into a trade, you want to be at or near the best spot for that entry so that you don't experience that pullback, right? Maybe that's what you want to work on, so you can set a specific goal of lowering that MAE via something that whatever the thing may be, right? So that's always very important. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Practicing outside of a comfort zone as well is very important. You have to practice outside of your comfort zone in order to get better at those things that make you uncomfortable. So practicing your weaknesses, turning them into strengths by addressing these issues that make you uncomfortable. So those are the types of things that help, especially when it comes to deliberate practice. It's not just about, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read a book for 10 hours straight and try to learn. That can help and that can get you along the way, right? That can. But there are other ways to be more actionable about how you approach it. So let's talk a little bit more about deliberate practice and what it looks like compared to normal practice. Remember, deliberate practice involves the pursuit of personal improvement via coaching, self-assessment, specific goals, and constantly practicing outside of one's comfort zone. And in normal practice, this is what normal practice might look like. What do you want to do is number one. Well, I want to become an elite trader. Okay. Number two, let's find a group or some lessons and begin practicing and learning, right? Number three, practice until you reach an acceptable level. And number four is get a coach and mentor. Those are pretty much the same across the board, but it's what happens next, right? Number five is practice more. Number six is continue improving. Here's what deliberate practice looks like instead. Again, the first three are the same. What do you want to do? I want to become an elite trader. Number two, find a group or lessons and begin practicing and learning, like Pivot Boss, for example, like Masters, like our premium trading room, perhaps the book, right? Whatever it is that got you started. And then you practice until you reach an acceptable level, right? You practice, put your game up. And I remember, this is the same thing I did as well. Obviously, I always had a great mentor and coach in Ed Downs, but he didn't come into my life till 3 years later. I practiced, I learned, I did everything I could for 3 years while I was in college to become good at trading. And even then, it was lucky, I believe. It was just right time, right place. With the roaring 90s and the great moves up, it was easy pickings. But 3 years later, after reaching an acceptable level, that's when I got a job with Nirvana, and Ed Downs became a very instrumental mentor to me early on. So again, that's the same type of thing. Number four, get a coach who can set specific goals and tailor practice to improve in those areas, like better entries, risk management, etc. This week is all about better entries, pinpointing entries, those types of things. What are we looking for out of these entries, and how do we confirm them? So it's all about entries this week. Number five, develop a way to measure improvement. So if entries are a weakness, the coach can develop a plan to address entries so the student can practice these scenarios. Progress is tracked constantly. And progress being tracked constantly is very simple. Is it making more money? Is it making less money? Are you Is your percentage gains better or worse? Is your MAE lower? Is your MFE bigger? These are the things that you can measure along the way. But again, it's a way to measure improvement because that's what it's all about. Number 6, create positive channels for feedback so that adjustments are seamless. Students must be able to accept feedback to improve. For example, in the trading room, right, we have traders that are in there all the time, and I'm constantly providing feedback or ideas, constantly updating, and traders in the room absorb this so well, and we keep it positive. We keep it upbeat. We keep it positive. We feed off each other, and that's the type of thing that you need in a trading environment. I remember Morad, Futures Trader 71, saying before that when he ran his prop firm, as soon as a trader threw their keyboard across the room because they lost a bunch of money on a trade, he'd send that trader home because he didn't want that mentality spreading across the rest of the floor, right? It's the same type of thing in our trading room. I never have to throw anybody out, but it's the same type of thing. You want to keep it upbeat, you want to keep it positive, and you want to keep it in a way that everybody's pulling for each other. That type of thing really seems to help, and it's much better to have that positive mental aspect than otherwise. So got to create those positive channels for feedback. Number 7, develop a mental representation of excellent performance in game time situations. And practicing these scenarios allows for better in-game responses. Number 7, this one right here, I think is one of the most important of anything that we'll talk about today. Developing a mental representation of what excellent performance looks like in game time situations. I say this all the time. It's about visualization, visualizing the trade. What is the best approach to entering this trade? What's the worst approach, right? Avoid that one. So every time, I say this often in the trading room, when we see a significant move occur in the market, I always go back to how that move started, not how the move was confirmed. How did it start? What were the symptoms? What did it look like? Where were the best areas to enter that trade? The best, not where the easiest or where the confirmed entry is. What's the best entry? And then study how to identify that entry ahead of time and as it's happening in real time. And there's various markets, right? In a trading range market, we're looking to fade the edges, fade new highs, fade new lows, just like today. Just like today. So first thing we said pre-market, look to fade new highs, fade new lows after the gap up. Likely going to see a range-bound day. That's what happened for the most part throughout the session here. So that's the type of thing we're looking for, is understanding what we're supposed to do, execute that play when it happens in the game, right? So this is very, very important. We'll talk a little bit more about that next. Number 8 is coach designs developmentally appropriate training sessions to achieve maximum effort and concentration. Again, this is those game time situations. It's about the 2-minute drill again, right? This is what we're looking for in this situation. Those types of things. When a market sees a stop run day, right? This is what I tell traders all the time. When you see a stop run day, there are certain ways that we now need to approach that market and engage it. So you have to be able to identify the types of days and the types of markets that you're going to see and practice those. And again, by designing those proper practice approaches to these scenarios, that's where it happens. I mean, it's film study. Going back and film study, looking what you do. Number 9, trader learns to self-assess and come up with own mental representations. So they feel in charge and are able to exploit these opportunities in the market. You have to be able to self-assess, right? And that's something that comes with practice, it comes with experience, and it comes with knowing yourself, being aware of things, and then saying, you know what, I'm not that good at this over here. Or, you know what, every time I take this trade, it's a bad trade, but when I take those over there, this certain setup is great. It's learning to self-assess and saying, I got to drop this one over here, focus on this one, or whatever the case is. I need to focus on my entries. I need to focus on my risk management. Maybe my forecasting. Maybe I need to focus on breakouts better because I always seem to get a failed breakout, whatever the case may be. But you have to learn to self-assess. That's very, very important. Number 10, trader develops own training sessions to elicit maximum effort and focus and learns to use self-assessment to address weaknesses. So again, through practice, through preparation, through experience, you'll be able to say, okay, I need help here. And that's what we're doing now, right? Just these are some suggestions that you can take to, again, push forward and continue to improve. Preparation is key. Proper preparation is key, and being prepared for most market situations makes for a trader that is ready to exploit any market situation that may arise. Preparation breeds confidence. Remember, we talked about it before. Tom Brady knows when the game's on the line, 2 minutes to go, he knows he can make the plays to win that game. The reason he has that confidence is because he's prepared for every single situation or scenario that could come up. He's done this thousands and thousands of times. You'll hear Patriots players say, they'll ask him in a post-game interview, they'll say, hey, how did you know to make that awesome play when this or that happened? We've practiced that play 10,000 times, they'll say, in practice, even though it's some sort of play that nobody even ever sees. It's that type of preparation that really helps in these types of situations. This preparation is huge, because if you remember, even in the Super Bowl, the recent Super Bowl, the Pats were down huge at halftime. I mean, it was the largest Super Bowl deficit ever, and they came back. That goes back to those elite athletes that can not only excel in pressure situations, but they're even-keeled during adversity. They persevere at all costs, right? Those types of traits are what helped them win that game. They had done it over and over and over again, no matter what. And that's the same thing with these suggestions here. You've got to be able to practice situational awareness. Practice these situations that you're going to see in the game. Practice them. So I say here, number 1, practice and prepare for situational scenarios. Identify market situations, all market situations, and look to establish the ideal approach to engaging these scenarios, like a trading range market, like a trending market, low volatility markets. These are things that I set the tone for in the trading room every single day when our traders are in there, right? I'll say, hey, today looks like it may be a trading range market. We want to fade the edges. We want to be disciplined and avoid trading around value. That's how you properly engage that market scenario, typically speaking. In a trending market, right, we're looking for certain scenarios. Maybe price gets outside of R3 and starts a price discovery phase. At that point, we may be looking to defend pullbacks to R3. Perhaps we bring up the PIMAs and defend pullbacks to the trigger zone, right? We're looking for certain scenarios, and then we're looking to engage them in the ideal way. But if you don't know what scenarios are, and you're just sitting there in the market, and you're just kind of shooting from the hip because price looks like it's a good buy right there, it may not work as good. But if you know that, hey, we just had a huge gap up overnight because of French election, 6E was up huge, ES is up huge, NASDAQ gapped up huge, then, after a large gap like that, there can be a tendency to see digestion, right? So you have to know that ahead of time. That doesn't mean that every one of those scenarios is perfectly like that. But what that means is you're prepared. You know what to look for. And if that thing doesn't happen that you're looking for, there may be a failure of that. But it's just important to practice and prepare for these situational scenarios, like the 2-minute offense, right? So again, whatever scenario you come across, and this is where a trading log is really, really helpful, and we'll talk about that in a second. Replay past days and events is number 2. Learn from previous events, like previous trading day types, FOMC days, NFP days, etc. Learn to utilize the playback feature to replay these events to learn how to engage them when they return, right? I always say it, when there's a huge day in the market or when there's a certain day in the market, I'll look at it, I'll study it and say, okay, how could I have seen that ahead of time? How could I have engaged it better? What are the things I'm looking for there? What can I learn for next time? Just like FOMC days, right? I look to avoid trading it right when it's coming out, but that key level that the FOMC day provides, right? The key level, the 1 p.m. key level, is super important. And right there, we know how to engage that opportunity. We know what to look for when an FOMC day comes along. We get that 1 p.m. key level, And then from there, if price rallies away from it, we're looking for some rejection that will bring us back to it and through it. And then when we see a rejection from the opposite end, we're looking for it to come back to it again and perhaps through it again. So we know what to expect. And when you know what to expect, when you know what to expect in any market, you can then prepare for those situations. And when you see them live, you can engage. Or if you don't see what you normally expect to see, then you can sit on the sidelines, right? Number 3 is create a trading log or journal. Learn to log trades, include pertinent information for each trade and session. Don't overcomplicate the journal so as not to deter from logging the information. But analyze your data and improve. That's the goal. It's not about just putting a spreadsheet together and sticking some stuff in it. It's about analyzing the data in many different ways. And as traders, we are analysts. We have to analyze the market, analyze all inputs, analyze the current trend, analyze key levels, analyze volume, analyze price, analyze global economic forces, all kinds of things that we analyze. You've got to be able to analyze yourself and your own data as well, perhaps more importantly at times. Now, one thing I will say about trading logs and journal, I hadn't done this as much lately. I did it much, much more when I was scalping much more and day trading much more. Now it's swing trading. I'm not doing 5, 10, 20 trades a day, right? So that's when I really got a lot of information from it. But what that did, that time journaling and logging did, was it helped me understand what I needed to improve on. It helped me understand what I needed to stay away from. It helped me understand so many different things. For example, I always mention that the first time a trading log really helped me, and it was when I thought I was trading the market well. I'd get in to trade, it'd be up huge. For example, a TF trade, during that time, my MFE, my average MFE was about 9 points in the TF, which means when I got into a trade, on average, it would go at least 9 points in my favor. And the MAE was at least 1.2 or something like that. But I wasn't making the money I thought I should be making during that time. And then I looked at the log, and I thought, I'm shooting for too far of a target. I was overestimating the target. So while I was up 9 points, I was probably shooting for 15. And at that moment in time, the market range was contracting. It went from high volatility period to a low volatility period, and I was still trading to high volatility targets. But by looking at the trading log, I was able to see that, adjust my target to say, you know what, I'm only going to go for 8 or 9 points now. And boom, 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 I'm knocking it out, right? Whereas before, what I was doing was trying to go from 9 points and let it go to 15, but then end up closing the trade for a +2, right? So it'd be up 9, and then I close it for a +2 or a +3, and I'm like, But again, I was able to look at the log and see that I could adjust my exits, and my entries were great. Those types of things are important. The other thing you'll see is that putting MAE and MFE up, very, very important, and that's the next one. And that's how you can track progress as well. But certain things that you wouldn't normally tend to log can be very important, like the day of the week, for example. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Sunday. And then looking to say, wow, I actually make much more money Monday through Wednesday than Thursday through Friday, right? And you can look at that tendency and see why, understand it a little bit, and then perhaps you can adjust accordingly so that maybe you're not putting too much emphasis on the last of the week when you're doing so much better early in the week, right? Those types of things. But again, if you make it so large of a log and make it too burdensome, you're not likely to continue to do it. So again, keep it nimble is what I would say. Number 4 is measure MAE and MFE. Learn to use maximum adverse excursion and maximum favorable excursion when tracking your progress. Maximum adverse excursion is how much price goes against you. How much does the trade go against you before it goes up, right? How much does it go against you while you're in trade? This is all while in trade. And then maximum favorable excursion would be how much does the trade go in your favor while you're in trade. And then using a ratio of MFE to MAE was one of my favorite things to do. If I was normally up, say 5 points in a trade and it was only going against me like 5 ticks, it's a great ratio. And that's a way to grade yourself on some of these traits. So that's something that I always look to do, is I look to practice triggering these entries with as little MAE as possible and try to get to that T1 as quickly as possible. And from each trade, you can look to capture more MFE. And again, that's a measurable outcome that you can look to strive for, right? Less MAE, more MFE. And number 5 is work on your weaknesses. For example, if entries are your weakness, make them a primary focus until entries become a strength. Engage each weakness in this fashion. I still remember when I would trade the ES and, I'd hold a 3-point stop and it seemed like it was hit all the time. And it was like, wow, what am I doing wrong here? And it's still, I didn't have my bearings about myself on where those precision points were often. I wanted to see too much confirmation or a breakout. And breakouts, as we know, can tend to fail and lead to major moves the opposite way. So I had to change my approach. I had to study entries better and figure out when and where I wanted to enter. This type of thing really helps you if you do that at all parts of your game, right? From entries to exits to forecasting to whatever the case may be, mindset even. And number 6 is practice dealing with failure and success. How do you handle bad trades? How do you handle success? Understanding how to best deal with these scenarios ahead of time will allow you to better handle these situations live in the moment. For example, many of you that trade options may be in an options trade, right? And when you're trading options, there's a tendency for stocks to gap way against you at times. There's always something, right? It could be whatever. It could be an earnings miss. It could be a war. It could be a this or that. And whatever. Well, if you're in an options trade and you get a massive gap against you, how are you going to handle that? Are you going to be deer in the headlights right when it happens and say, oh shit, what do I do? Or are you already going to know this ahead of time, what you should do? Right? You should already know if a stock is going to gap way against me and I'm in this options position, what am I going to do? You need to know that ahead of time so that when that does happen or should it happen, you cannot be, you won't be a deer in the headlights and you'll execute, right? These are the types of things you need to practice. It's all about preparation. But how are you going to handle these bad trades or a string of bad trades? How are you going to handle a 10% drawdown in your account, after you've been doing so well? One thing that I talk about often is handling success as well, because I've always said that early on when I was really still doing well, but I would have periods where if I did really, really well, I'd try to step on the gas more. I'd feel like I was invincible, like I was the best, and I'd step on the gas, and all of a sudden I would see there was a departure from what took me to those great equity curve heights. I would switch my game and try to be too aggressive, and all of a sudden the biggest drawdown would come. So every time I took my account to new heights, I would see a sizable drawdown of some sort soon after. It's because I changed my approach to what got me that success. I got too overconfident. I got too bullish, whatever the case may be, right? So I had to go back and say, I got to stick to what takes me there. I can't sit here and try to swing for home runs now that I think I'm good. I have to approach the game the same way I do every single time. So it's just understanding these things and thinking about them ahead of time so that when you encounter them live in the market, you're ready to go. This Becoming an Elite Trader course here is all about setting the tone for how to practice and prepare, right? How to practice and prepare as you move forward. Because it's not just about sitting in front of the market and waiting for something to happen. It's being prepared and knowing what to look for, when, how to execute that bias and those types of things. If you are coming in and trying to shoot from the hip, it's going to be very, very difficult. So again, it's how to practice. It's deliberate practice. It's preparation, which breeds confidence. It's training like an elite athlete to get elite results. Anybody can train in this way, right? It's not just athletes, it's not just traders, but virtually anyone who has reached the top of their profession possesses these traits. From rock stars to performers, celebrities, CEOs, figure skaters, military personnel, right? Every single one of these elite performers go about their business in the same exact way. And as traders, we got to want to be the best in order to stay in this game. That means you got to continue to improve, you got to stay disciplined, and you got to continue to push forward, right? And so that's what this was about. It's about being prepared and about being able to overcome any situation that comes your way when you encounter it in the market. So that concludes becoming an elite trader. This was part of the core training and the theory portion of our Pivot Boss Masters training. Becoming an elite trader is a process, but the learning curve can be broken down very, very quickly with a lot of the points we covered here today. It took me quite a while to push forward and get to where I wanted to get to, but it was all worth it in the end. And being able to help anyone out along the way, as I always say, I look to give my most, because the more I give, I feel the more I receive. And I believe that becoming an elite trader is there for every one of you. And being able to prepare the right way, engage the right way with discipline, I think great things can happen. So thank you all for joining me today for Becoming an Elite Trader. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll have some more great content coming your way.